So, welcome back to Far Right Watch, guys, gals. Now, some of you may be aware that the far right in the US, as well as here in the UK, really seem to have an obsession with kid grooming, don't they? Whether it's, over in the States, if it's Pizzagate or Epstein or Biden and his granddaughter was another instance, or if it's here with Keir Starmer letting Jimmy Savile was one, or the Muslim grooming gangs is probably the most, famous or infamous obsession in that regard. Indeed, from Washington to Westminster, grooming children is the all new craze. Don't actually mean the grooming of, the act of doing it is the all new craze. I mean the far right obsessing over the idea of it is. So I thought for this edition of Far Right Watch, maybe what we could do is have a look at just how, perhaps inconveniently, in some cases, how obsessed some of the far right themselves have become by it.
Thank you very much, everyone, for your welcome.
So this is Charles Bailey. He is a former BNP candidate. Now, the British National Party used to be politically derided as ignorant, didn't they? As racist fascists with their far-right policies of, well, let's see what we had. We had net zero immigration. We had mass deportations, their tying of crime to immigrants, their desire for a return to Christian moral codes. Does any of this sound familiar?
We're not far-right agitators.
Anyway, I think Charles Bailey was most recently a candidate for the BNP in 2009. So let's see what he's up to now.
You're talking to a girl under the age of 16, which is against the law. Isn't it, Charles?
Right. Yeah. Okay, so just in case you haven't seen this, Bailey was caught by a group of predator hunters over the weekend, which presumably means that some people pretended to be kids, and then they arranged to meet him at a public place, and then they filmed it, they've exposed him.
You're talking to at least 3 children that I know of, a 14-year-old and a 13-year-old.
And obviously the press have got hold of it now. This is from The Sun. The Sun is saying he was targeted by an online group for trying to meet a 13-year-old. Police were called to a shopping centre in Glasgow. A 74-year-old was taken into custody in connection with indecent online communications. Right. I mean, what does that mean? Because, it could be quite worrying for somebody like that. I put out a lot of content. I drop a lot of F-bombs and C-bombs. Where does indecent online communications start and stop, guys? Could I be in trouble? What does it mean?
You sent your manky mushroom to a child. That fucking thing down there.
Right. Got it. Gotcha. I mean, in a way, it's a shame that the Online Safety Act didn't kick in for him, isn't it? Because it would have blurred it all out, wouldn't it? And then technically he wouldn't have exposed himself to him, would he? But anyway, it's not the point. It's not the point, Ed.
You've groomed children online, sexual communications.
And I mean, guaranteed this guy has been posting some shit about Asian grooming gangs or some shit, hasn't he? Like, what do we think? Do we think former candidates and members of the BNP would have probably almost certainly turned up and protested outside a hotel? Like, on what basis? On what basis could you be protesting outside the hotel now? That an asylum seeker might attack our women and girls? Like, on what basis could you actually be upset about who is in the hotel? Do you know what I mean? Like, what a weird undercurrent reality this is. Because basically when you boil it down, it's like, oi, don't try to groom and fuck our kids. And then people are like, what? Why not? Because I want to. That's basically what it is, isn't it? That is the only logical issue that's left for this man to allegedly take. You know? Or maybe for a lot of these guys, you know, maybe they just hate the local hotel, the local Premier Inn, like that much that they're outside protesting, which I get. I fully get that. You know, £15 for that breakfast buffet, get me my picket sign. And this case clearly has echoes of some others, particularly this guy, Lee McMillan, who was a 46-year-old senior member of the EDL. Ah, yes, yeah, the EDL. I remember the EDL. The English Defence League was Tommy Robinson's former organisation. Tommy Robinson famously obsessed by Muslim grooming gangs and what those people did to our women and girls, save our kids, and all of that. Anyway, let's see what Lee McMillan is up to. Lee McMillan jailed for sexually abusing a 10-year-old girl. Oh, right. Right. Yeah, okay. Okay, 17 years he got. Did you know that? This is Paul Whiteside. Right. Arrested and convicted of abducting a 15-year-old. Right. Okay, so it's not just an idea that they're obsessed by. They're actually, you know, they're really doing their research here, aren't they? In order to defeat the Nonceburgers, I must become the Nonceburgers. It's like method acting, isn't it? They're really getting into it. This is William Charlton, of whom Tommy Robinson said at a rally in Sunderland, blah, 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 Muslims, where can I get a spray tan, Billy? No, what he actually said was, I wouldn't have ever heard of this campaign if it wasn't for Billy. And according to Hope Not Hate, child sexual exploitation was a key theme of speeches at that rally. Right, so William Charlton gets Tommy Robinson to come to the rally in Sunderland where everybody warns against child sexual exploitation. But you're not going to tell me now that this guy is as well. It later transpired that Charlton was found guilty of distributing an indecent photograph of a child. Right, yeah, okay. So I'm sensing a pattern here. I am. You know, does no political organisation vet their members anymore? I think if the Reform Party have taught us anything, it's that you've got to do background checks, guys. Doesn't matter if it's anti-Semites in the Labour Party or Reform or the EDL. You gotta root out the wrong uns.
You gotta use rape on our kids.
Save our kids!
Richard Price, who founded the English Defence League, according to the Daily Star. One of the founders. That's right. He was arrested at a rally. The police went to his home. They found some shit on his devices. He was convicted for kid porn. And if you were wondering how seriously Tommy Women and Girls Robinson took the arrest and the sentencing of his photography enthusiast friend, the Star reports after he was jailed for 3 months for threatening behaviour at the rally, the EDL launched a campaign to free him. And Lennon claimed Price had been stitched up. He said Richard Price had his house unfairly raided by West Midlands police. After a lot of criticism, Robinson would then say at no time has Pricey ever been a leader of the EDL. But Hope Not Hate say this was a lie because Tommy Robinson himself wrote in 2010, the EDL only have this leadership for the record, myself and Richard Price, who says we are the earliest founding members. And I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking, guys. You're thinking, well, yes, Aid, okay, but come on. There's millions of racists in the UK, isn't there? There's going to be millions. There's bound to be a few bad apples. But first, judging the many by the few bad apples is the approach that these precise people favour, isn't it? So if we're going to fight fire with fire here, if we are going to judge them on their own terms, then really we would be within our rights to say all of them are paedophiles. I'm not saying that. We're not saying that at all. I'm just saying that is ostensibly the same as what they do with racism, right? And second, yes, okay. Taking, what was it? What were we up to? Four examples of it is, it's probably not the slam dunk case that I'm pretending that it is for all racists. But that's why I'm going to do some more. Michael McQueenie was a Blackburn-based EDL supporter who managed to take a well-earned break from the tropes and bigotry and to put the cans of Stella down long enough to lure a 14-year-old girl with learning difficulties into a wooded area and rape her. Jesus fucking Christ. While EDL supporter Brett Moses was given a year for grooming a child. Like, are we sure that it's the racism that's bringing these guys all together? Is that what they think they've got in common? Like, imagine if you were black and a child. You'd be Jack Renshaw, not a member or supporter of the EDL, not Tommy affiliated, but very much a neo-Nazi. He was jailed for 16 months for grooming adolescent boys. This one might be my favourite, and I'm not saying that because the crime itself is funny. Not saying that. Don't get it twisted. None of this is seeking to mock the seriousness and the severity and the disgust of the crimes themselves. What I'm saying is that this next one might be my favourite because this one is objectively pretty funny. Check it out. So this guy is called AJ Audits on YouTube, and his channel is no longer there, but I've gone onto the Internet Archive and I can see him describe himself as, I am an investigative auditor who stands up for human rights, especially for disabled people. I interview companies that help make life easier for those in need. Oh. Now, apparently that was there on his YouTube channel like 2 years ago when the archive took a snapshot of it. And I don't know what happened to him in those couple of years, like how his content changed or how more radicalized he became. But the Independents say Anthony Styles, 59, shared videos to his channel of himself outside asylum seeker hotels in London and Epping, amassing thousands of subscribers to his channel. Well, okay. In several of his recordings, he interviewed fellow protesters who described migrants as sexual predators who made local children feel unsafe, as well as linking them to Muslim grooming gangs. And do I even need to say it? Anti-migrant protester who claimed to want to protect children is convicted paedophile. Every time! Mate, he's trying to, blow up as a YouTuber, surfing the grooming gang zeitgeist, but neglects to factor in his own career as a militant nonce and consider how that might preclude him from consideration in this area. I mean, it's one thing. It's one thing to be a raging nonce. But imagine being a shit one. Imagine you get caught and sentenced and jailed, and then you're in the prison therapy session or whatever, and then everybody sat around in a circle and you all have to talk about how you got caught. And finally, it's your turn. They pass the talking cushion to you. You hold the cushion. It's your turn to speak. And then you have to sit there and go like, yeah, I started a YouTube channel where I drew attention to myself, campaigning against grooming and kid fuckers. And the other prisoners in the therapy session like, you didn't think that might eventually blow up in your face? Well, I guess I didn't really think it through. Yeah. I guess not. You fucking idiot. And he's like, all right. All of them are like, do you know what, Anthony? You are a shit paedophile. Okay, last one. This is Warren Gilchrist. He's also a YouTuber. Gilchrist described himself as a freedom fighter. And amidst the 2024 post-Southport summer riots, Gilchrist was arrested in Manchester for taking part in the civil unrest. The article says the court was shown a video of him wearing a helmet with a camera on it, presumably filming for his YouTube channel. And he's chanting, England, 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 take it back and save our kids. And, wait for it. You need the drum roll? The suspense? Yeah, Gilchrist had 31 previous convictions, including sexual offences against children under the age of 13. Oh, man. So, yes, look, just in case you hadn't already worked it out from viewing all of these segments, all of these examples, the types of people who are being attracted to these protests, to these marches, it's not about protecting our kids. It's not about, and is never about, saving our women and girls. Protection of children is just the visceral instrument that they use and exploit to get you to think their racism has a point. Anyway, that's it for this one. Do join the Patreon. See you next time. Peace.
They're racist and fascist, but also nonsense.
Racist and fascist, but they touch kids.
They're racist and fascist, but also nonsense.
Racist and fascist, but they touch kids.